What's up, guys? This is Timothy Douglas with the Living the Dream People of Austin podcast, where our goal is to build a community in Austin that helps people achieve their dreams and ideal lifestyle by inspiring action and accountability. If you want to help me achieve my dream of helping 120 people buy or sell a home in the Austin area before 2021 is over, and you know somebody that's looking to sell real estate or buy real estate, send them my way because I would be extremely grateful. All right, let's help each other achieve our dreams.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have my Aunt Audrey on the podcast, actually, which is a pleasure because I've always wanted to hear a little bit more about her life and motivations and stuff. And her full name is Audrey Jackson. And today we're going to get to hear about who she is, some of her dreams, like we always do on the podcast. So, hey, Aunt Audrey, how you doing?
I'm good, and I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. I'm happy you're here. So we'd like to just jump right into it. And if you would be willing to tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, where you're from, and kind of what growing up was like for you.
Okay. Well, I was born in Virginia, but my family moved to Texas when I was really young. So most of my childhood memories are here in Texas. My mom's family is from here. And so when Dad met Mom and they got together and married, they were in Virginia for a while, but decided to raise us in Texas, where my mom's family is. So I have an older sister and a younger sister. So I'm the middle child. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. What my childhood was like, well, I grew up in the country with both parents and my sisters. We had our share of challenges and struggles. But as I've grown up, become an adult, and I've been living my life, I've maintained those relationships, and my family has continued to mean a lot to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so started in Virginia, but moved to Texas pretty early because Grandma's family is here. One second. Okay, and you said there were some struggles and there was some adversity, but coming into adulthood, you've kind of overcome it, and your family continues to be important to you today.
Yes, absolutely.
Gotcha. Love it. Okay, what are some of the things you like to do for fun?
Well, I like reading nonfiction, especially Christian and financial materials. It probably sounds a little strange, but I'm really into personal finance. And I like listening to sermons, exercising, spending time with friends and family, doing volunteer work, puzzles. I like listening to comedy and watching funny shows. So those are some of the things I like to do for recreation.
Gotcha. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you teach a personal finance class, right?
Well, yeah, I've been part of financial ministry in a few different capacities. So when I was part of one particular church, I did a financial program there, and in the church I've been attending, I am part of financial ministry there. And so the programs might be different, but the focus is still the same kind of materials. What does the Bible say about how to view money, how to spend, how to save, and how to be a blessing to the kingdom of God through our finances.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Love that. Love that. The Bible really has some good stuff to say about basically every area of life. So
yes,
always great that we listen to it. Okay, so for fun, you like to read a lot, which is always a great habit because you can just learn so much in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I don't know if you ever do any fiction reading, but it's easy to escape into a book if you are stressed and you need to de-stress. That's also a good way to do it. So I like that you love to read.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. So learned a little bit about your family, where you're from, what you like to do for fun, and so what are you doing for work right now?
Well, I work for the state. I'm a social worker. I really focus on work with children and families, though I don't work directly with them. I do things like write policy, analyze bills, respond to questions from staff who work directly with children and families. I help to roll out new initiatives, things like that. So it's on the administrative side. I used to work directly with children and families, but I've been a social worker for many years, and as the years have passed, I've kind of changed roles, and so I don't work directly with families anymore.
Gotcha. So been doing it for many years, and you've kind of stepped into the managerial spot of social work.
Well, it's administrative. I actually don't supervise anyone, funny enough. It's just one of those kind of jobs where it's administrative at a statewide level. They need people who have some direct practice experience and maybe some other kind of experiences. I've done training in my past and a number of other things. And it's to kind of be a statewide subject matter expert in this particular area in working with children and families. And so in my role, I just do things that a statewide subject matter expert would need to do, such as writing policy. So we don't have everyone in, all 254 counties in Texas writing policy for this program. We have just a core group of us, and we work with various people, for example, to kind of review it and to give input and stuff, but we kind of are the leads on writing the policy. So that's an example of how you'd want someone who's more focused at a statewide level to do certain things, like analyze a legislative bill that would affect the program. Gotcha. So those are kind of the things that I do.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes a bit more sense. So more administrative, not managerial.
Yes.
Love it. Okay, so last little question about getting to know you. So occupation as a social worker for many, many years, I'm sure there have been hard times. I'm sure administrative work isn't always fun, and also life can just hit us with some adversity sometimes. So how do you keep your motivation up? Where do you get your motivation from? What does that look like for you?
Well, I have been very blessed to have my current position. I have been doing this job, this specific job, for like 8 years. And that's a long time. A lot of people would have tried to move up and be promoted and change jobs and really focus on that. Well, I'm I'm pretty happy in the job that I have, and so that helps to keep me motivated. I'm still learning and growing. I like the team that I'm on. I'm given a lot of different tasks to do, so it's never boring. I'm always kind of challenged to learn new things. So that keeps me motivated. I also feel like what I'm doing in my day-to-day life is serving. I like to serve others. I love people. And so for different aspects of my life, whether it's ministry, my personal life, my job, I like the aspect of being able to give and serve. And so that purpose helps me to stay motivated. And I recognize that every day is a gift, and I'm getting older and the days are passing. I'm not always going to be on the earth, and I want to just be obedient to God and do what he's called me to do with the life he's gifted me to have. And so that, I think, keeps me motivated.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. I I love that answer so much. I've done a couple of these now, and you always hear different perspectives based on, like, a lot of things, age, occupation, and stuff. But I really want to highlight that you said the purpose of serving helps you stay motivated, because I think that's so important. And so when do you think is, like, the first time that you realized that you really loved to serve, and that's where you were going to derive your, like, motivation from?
Well, I think that when I was in college, and I was trying to pick a career and a field of study and all of that, I just looked at a few fields. I knew that so many things weren't a good fit for me. Like, a person might not know exactly what they want to do, but you know that you're not going to be like in the medical field, for example.
Absolutely.
That may really stand out to you. Or if you're not really into math, you might not focus much on that and engineering and science. And so I just knew some about what I liked doing and what I was interested in doing and what really wasn't a good fit for me. And so I started out with psychology being a focus and social work being a minor, but then started doing some volunteer work and just loved social work. I loved what we studied. I loved how we tried to help people in their environment, in their communities, in their families. And so doing the volunteer work helped me to see that I really did find it was a good fit, and that made me want to do more and more and more. So my jobs, I guess, are work, but it's such a good fit for me that I really enjoy the work.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. I'm glad that you're in a spot where you are happy and content and enjoying your life, because everybody's end goal to be in line with their purpose and enjoying it.
I completely agree, and it's not always easy to find a career and to build a life that really works in every way. But I focused on pursuing God and trying to do His will and really evaluate for myself what works. So it may look kind of different from other people, but it works for me, and I really thought through this big decisions in my life. One example, like I was just talking about, is how I have not been focused on being promoted. I do not want to change jobs, even though it might look like that would be the next logical thing to do. That doesn't fit for me. I'm happy where I am.
Absolutely. No, love it. All right, let's jump into, you currently are living in Austin, correct?
I am.
Awesome. Let's jump into a little bit about the city. So what's your favorite thing about Austin?
Well, I mentioned that I grew up in Texas, and I actually lived in the country. We were like 3 miles from a store. And what I love about Austin is that so much is accessible to me. Churches, stores, restaurants, recreation, just lots of different things here that you don't necessarily get in every area in Texas. And so I enjoy that about Austin.
Gotcha. Love it. It's so funny because a lot of people who've always lived in the city would overlook something like that, but oftentimes it's the simple things in life that really get to you.
Mhm. Yeah, it can make such a big difference to have everything at my doorstep. I lived in a place growing up where you couldn't get pizza delivered. There were no taxis. I mean, what I'm saying is if you didn't walk there or ride your bike or bum a ride from a neighbor or your parents or something, you're pretty much at home. And you didn't have the option of doing so many things because even the nearest store, and I don't mean store like a H-E-B, I mean store, a convenience store, was 3 miles away. And so living in Austin, I still smile about how I can literally go online and just look up something to do in Austin, and there are tons of different options.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one thing I'm more excited to do. I didn't really explore. We were in the suburbs of Austin. We weren't really in Austin, and I didn't really explore all that the city had to offer growing up. So I'm excited to do that coming back here in a couple of days.
Great.
No, it'll be exciting. So what's your favorite place in Austin?
I love so many places here. I don't know if I could say I have a favorite. I think my favorite place near Austin is Lake Pflugerville, and probably a favorite place in Austin would be some park or town lake or something like that. I just love being by the water or under a tree around some grass and some trees. I just absolutely love connecting with God and nature and just spending time outdoors. So I would say Lake Pflugerville, and that's pretty close to Austin.
Yeah, love it. No Zilker Park?
I have not spent a lot of time there. I've enjoyed it when I've been, but I haven't spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, makes sense. That's fair. All righty. Well, if you're in the Austin area and you haven't been to Lake Pflugerville, looks like you need to go. Awesome. So, okay, let's move into now my favorite part of the podcast because I love hearing about people's dreams in their life and goals and bucket list items that they have yet to achieve or have achieved. And so a lot of the podcast guests have been like 20s, so they have a lot of their dreams ahead of them. You may have accomplished some of your dreams. You may still have some ahead of you, but if you do have some ahead of you right now, what are some of your current ones?
Okay. Well, I'm glad you mentioned about the age difference because I'll say that I've accomplished certain goals and dreams that I had because, I am a bit older. But some of the things ahead of me, I really am focused on paying off my house. I live debt-free except for my mortgage, and so this may actually be the last debt I ever have, God willing. Absolutely. And having the house paid off will free up more money for investing and saving and helping others. Another thing that I'm focused on is how I might do some writing and get published or disseminate that writing in some way. It might be financial information about my personal journey or about things I'm learning about living the Christian life. I've been writing for ages. I just have never pursued disseminating it or getting it published. But I could see that as a bucket list kind of thing. And then also, I'm not sure what's next for me when it comes to my career. Soon I'll be eligible to retire from the state, and that opens up a lot of different options for me. I may pursue a completely different kind of career, or I may continue as I am or mostly doing the kind of work that I do now. But retirement eligibility just opens up some options for me, so I'm seeking God about His will.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I actually have never heard about the fact that you want to do some writing. That is awesome, and I love that.
It's not something I've talked to a lot of people about, except to tell them maybe that I write. It's just in me to write. I just have never tried to do anything with it in terms of getting it published or getting it disseminated in some way. So I think I'll be able to focus more and more on that as life has changed so much. And like I said, I'll be looking at what's my next chapter. What do I need to be doing? So yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. Okay. So some of your dreams are still financial, like paying off your house, living debt-free. You have a dream of writing and then a potential career change post-early retirement.
Yes.
Okay. If you were to have somebody help you with one, if not all of those dreams right now, how would they do it?
Well, I think that any encouragement is helpful, providing practical information, tips, resources, books that they think might be helpful. I think that's always good. I also think if it's someone close to me, having some accountability, and that might look like some regular check-ins of what my goals are and how they're coming along and what the next steps are, and trying to address any barriers to those. So I think it's an interesting question about how someone might help me, but that kind of comes to mind. And I know some people seek out personal coaches and mentors and things like that, and I can definitely see how, especially when you're changing your career, like you've gone from what you've been doing your entire life and what your degrees are in to a completely new thing, and you're getting older. I could see wanting some kind of assistance through that whole process. It's exciting and it's beautiful, but it is a big change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love the encouragement, accountability. What exactly do you want to be held accountable to of those goals? Would it be like the paying off the house and debt-free, except for the mortgage, but you're paying off the mortgage? The continued investing after you're debt-free, the writing, or the career change and seeking advice for that?
I think with the financial part, it would be a real focus on not just adjusting lifestyle and living much better, but looking at, okay, if your goals are investing, saving, and helping others, how are you now diverting what you were paying on the mortgage to those goals of investing, saving, and helping others? And I think with writing, it would be to have a real practical approach of, well, what are some ways you could get information out? What would getting published look like? What kinds of things do you want to write first? And how much time are you devoting to that? And do you have like a time frame for when you might pursue getting it published or disseminated? And just having someone there help me think through that and be accountable for those things and not let it fall by the wayside. Now, when it comes to my next career or what I'm going to do at some point as I'm getting older and I'm eligible to retire, I'm just really seeking God about all of that. And there are so many options. So maybe talking through some of that, and if there are any books that they think might be helpful to kind of look at how people approach moving into this next chapter as they're getting older and maybe wanting a career change or considering one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I love that. I'm obviously 22, so I have no idea how people do that when they're moving into that stage of their life. But we'll definitely be looking for people to help you out with that and who have resources. As for the writing thing, I do have a book recommendation.
Okay.
Because I also wanted to be a writer for a long time and still want to probably later in life after I'm more financially on my feet and have a bit more free time. But it's called On Writing, a Memoir of the Craft by Stephen King.
Okay.
And that, I've read most of it, and I think the only thing it doesn't talk about the writing process is getting published. And for that, we'll ask around and see if anybody knows a publisher and see if we can hook you up on a call with them or something.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sure we can find somebody that knows a publisher. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, thanks for sharing that dream with us. Because I don't know, I love to hear about when people want to be writers because it's such a important thing, and it leaves like obviously like going through the world, like we can really have an impact on people through like relationships we have with them. But for the people we never like got a chance to meet, writing a book can be so powerful for them. Like I feel like Napoleon Hill has impacted my life through some of the books he wrote. Dale Carnegie impacted my life. Stephen R. Covey, is it R. Covey?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they didn't get to meet me, but they wrote a book, and it really impacted my life, and so I thank them for that.
Yeah, we learned so much, like you were saying earlier, from reading, and I know some books that I've read have made such a difference in how I think, things that I do, how I approach things in my life. So, yeah, I think reading can make such a big difference. And so when we think about those authors, we want to just kind of high-five them and say, yeah, thank you for being diligent to write the book.
Absolutely. Okay, so I know we're a little bit over time here, but let's just jump into the last three questions real quick. There are thriving three, so I'd love to hear about how people learn, how they take care of themselves, and some of the action they really like to take. And so our first question is, what is your favorite book?
Well, the Bible first, and after that, a financial book. It's The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. It is a very practical financial book that, of course, is biblically based and very helpful for single people, couples, and young people, older people. It's just a really great financial book and has some stories in it too, little vignettes of people, and it just is powerful to get that financial information the way that Dave has written it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's obviously a lot of people have heard of that book, but if you haven't, definitely one that you should read. Also, another financial book that Aunt Audrey has told me about is I'm blanking on it, The Richest Man in Babylon. I loved that book.
Oh, good. You read it.
Yep.
Loved it too. I still love it.
Yeah, I could honestly reread it again because one, it's a fun read, but it also has some really good principles in there.
I agree. I'm glad you decided to read it.
Yes. Yeah, it was a really good one. Okay, so what is one way you like to care for yourself?
I get plenty of rest, and it has made such a difference. I have so many people in my life who can go on just a few hours sleep and they go, but I found that I need good sleep and rest, and then I can be a lot more productive and just enjoy life more. So I prioritize getting my rest.
Awesome. Yep. Feel that. I am trying to hit 9 hours a night here post-grad. During college life was not the best the best rest ever. But I'm trying to hit 9:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. for the first couple of years out of college.
Can really make a difference. It can make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. Last question. What is one action step that you can take right now to get to your dreams?
I think what this podcast has helped me really think about is stepping back and setting some real goals, and that can help me get to my dreams. Not have them just some vague idea, but to really prayerfully put the dreams in a goal kind of format and approach it that way. So I think that's an action step I could take, is really establish some goals.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Have you heard of SMART goals?
Yes. Yes, I have. And I think that with some of the things that came up for me as I was preparing for this, it just would be good to sit down and think about, well, what are those goals? What would that look like? And some time frames around it, and just kind of pursue it that way. I think that would be a good action step.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have another book recommendation for you. It's,
okay.
It's called Vivid Visions. Really great book on goal setting and having a vision for your life. And it's on a lot of our vivid vision, I think. 1 second. Yep. Vivid Vision.
Okay.
Really great book. So yeah, tell me how you like it if you end up reading it.
Okay, I made a note of it, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. All right, well, that's it for the show. Aunt Audrey, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, of course. No, it was a pleasure to have you. And if you're listening to this and you heard about some of her dreams and you know a publisher that she can speak to about the writing process, or you have any books or practical tips or resources, maybe a potential mentor, somebody who has been later in life and made a career change, connect them to, I can't call you Audrey. I have to call you Aunt Audrey, which I know is just so weird for the podcast. But connect them to my Aunt Audrey and help her out with her dreams. All right, Aunt Audrey, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Remember, help out our guests if you can. Hold them accountable. Accountability is key. Also, we would love to have you on the show to talk about your dreams. Let's make them a reality. Finally, if you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell real estate in the Austin area in 2021, send them my way. Alrighty, have a blessed day.